Welcome back and welcome to Niche Part 2. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So, in the last training, you decided which major market you were in, and now you have the concept that we're going to move forward with in building the foundation of your business to adhere to best business practices. Now, whether you are starting out, growing, or scaling, it is really important that you go through this process either to build from scratch, to see which areas of your existing concept may need to be improved, or to do one final check before we scale that all things are in order. Okay. So let's go first to homework number one. In this part of the training, I'm going to talk to you about identifying your niche, your avatar, okay? Specifically, your avatar. When we talked about the major market, let's take an example and let's say that you are in the wealth market. Now that we know that you're in the wealth market, that puts you in a pretty big red ocean. What we want to do is find that blue ocean for you. Every major market has sub markets, right? So, for example, if you are in the wealth market, there are a lot of businesses that are sub markets to that, right? So, for example, what are some examples you can come up with of businesses or companies or concepts that deliver wealth, right? Banks are in the wealth market. That's the most obvious example, right? If you are a coach or a consultant like me and you help people build, grow, and scale their businesses, guess what? I'm in the wealth market, right? If you are a life coach and you work with high performers or people who want to level up in their careers, guess what? You're in a sub market of that. Now, the cool thing about sub markets is that once you start to identify the sub market that you exist in, you start to get sort of pink oceans. It's a little less populated, right? The one big caveat I will say is if you are in the health market and you are specifically working with people in weight loss, right? If you're working as like a fitness trainer, an expert in terms of healing the body for the purpose of weight loss, this is an extremely saturated market. So even that sub market is going to still be pretty red. And if I'm talking to you, you're probably like, yep, you're right. I'm, nodding your head. You've seen how many people there are online doing low ticket and some doing some high ticket as well. Other than that, what we want to do is identify which submarket you're in, right? So for you, your first job is to say, okay, what is the submarket? Am I a coach? Am I a consultant? Am I offering a product that delivers this result specific to this industry? I love to talk about in relationships. If you're in the relationships market, there's so many submarkets. Online dating, right? Your Hinge, your Tinder, um, Bumble, whatever new thing has popped up, right? An old school concept that I don't even know if it will still be around by the time you're watching this video, would be like eHarmony, something like that, right? Those are sub markets. And with those sub markets, they're still not a niche, right? It's not quite as low as we need to go. So, for example, if you are in the health realm and you say, hey, I'm an online fitness coach, guess what? Your market's going to be super saturated and it's going to be super hard for you to get into that blue ocean and really find who your niche is. But for now, I want you to think about what is the submarket that you exist in, right? What clients are you serving? What general thing are you delivering? Is it a product? Is it a service? What is that result, right? Weight loss? Is it freedom? Is it finding, the man of your dreams, the woman of your dreams, right? What is that thing you're delivering? Are you doing it online? Are you doing it right? Okay, so now that you understand submarket, this is helpful, but it's not really far enough. Submarkets are good to generally be aware of, but what we really want to identify is what your niche is. And here's the thing, once you understand from your major market into your submarket, down into your niche, once you can identify that, then you really have something that you can actually build upon in a blue ocean. and that will really allow you to build your high six figure, or maybe even seven figure business. That niche, that little dot, is what I call the avatar, right? So let's talk now about how we identify your avatar. Before we get there, it is critically important that you know this. In your journal and your notes, make sure you write this down. Y'all, a niche is not a demographic. If you've engaged with any of my content, you will see I talk about this a lot. A niche is not about, I help women between the ages of 25 and 35 lose 40 to 50 pounds, right? That is a demographic. That is not an avatar. That's not a niche. That's not what we want. If you have done that in the past, my guess is that's part of the reason why you're here with us. And if you've heard other people tell you to do that, just understand they have a very antiquated concept of what niche means, and it just does not apply to this model, which is designed to help you build, grow, and scale to high six figures and even seven figures. Cool? Now, by that being said, after you've been in business for a while, a proven niche, proven meaning people pay for your services and you're able to actually gain clients outside of your warm market, proven niche will give you demographical data, right? So, for example, on our team, we know who we're a good fit for and who we're not a good fit for. Not every one of our clients is a man or a woman or a they. Not every one of our clients is in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. They're all a little bit different, but there is some demographical data that we do receive based upon who gets the best results. That's because we've been doing this for a long time, long enough to be able to collect data. Okay. Starting out, niche, not a demographic. An avatar is two things. One, please be writing this down, the pain that you solve for. And two, the personality that you will accept. This is really critical, you guys. You must identify the pain points of your ideal client that you solve, right? Imagine that you have a broken arm and you need somebody to fix your broken arm. Presumably speaking, you need a doctor, right? That's a pretty good bet. So let's just say that you show up to a doctor's office because you see it's a doctor, and doctors help heal wounds. And you show up and it's a veterinarian. Is that veterinarian really going to be able to solve your problem? Sure, they can put splints on dogs and horses, so maybe. But is a veterinarian the best fit for a human with a broken arm? Hell no. That is why we want to be sure that we understand the pain our clients have, but we understand that it's pain we can solve. I hate to break it to my life coaches out there. You cannot help everybody. You cannot solve everybody's problems. Do you have the ability to help people with a wide variety of problems? Maybe, especially if you've got NLP training. If you've gone through some of those course trainings and you've gotten proof, you know that you have a lot of skills. But that's not how you create a niche. A veterinarian is a doctor that specializes in healing animals, right? What you need is you need your primary care physician, right? Someone that knows how to repair and set broken arms. Okay. In other words, make sure that we identify the pain that we solve, not every single pain a client has. Okay. And the second thing in avatar is the personality that you will accept. Right? This is really critically important because the personality that you will accept has to be a personality that you resonate strongly with. Okay, so that's our overview. Let's talk about each one a little bit more specifically. Okay, so I just covered this in pretty good detail, but it's the ideal pain that they have. Going back to the example, a veterinarian ideally would like to work with an animal that needs some health related issues solved. Sick animals, you know what I mean? Animals that need vaccinated. You know what I mean? That's what a veterinarian is for. That is the ideal pain, right? A doctor, a primary care physician, someone who works at a hospital, an ER nurse, right? They ideally are looking for clients that have emergent pain. That's who ideally goes to the emergency room. It's the same thing with your ideal clients. You don't want to map out every pain that they could possibly have and say, I can solve all of it. No, 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 no. You want to actually identify the specific pain that your clients have that you will solve. Okay. And so this is the first part of your homework. You're actually going to go into your workflowy, uh, or if you have a notebook that you're working off of specifically, that's fine too. That being said, y'all, I actually highly recommend that you put this information in your workflowy, whether you are building, growing, or scaling, because this information and data that we are collecting now is going to be essential to the next phase of your business. If you're building, it's going to be unbelievably important for you when we get to branding. Same thing with your growing or scaling, but in particular, if you are scaling, you want this information in your workflow because you are going to need to share this with your team. Does that make sense? So, my momentum tip here is put everything in workflowy. Write down all the ideal pains your clients have that you will solve. So for example, with our current business model, right? We look for people that are stuck, right? They know that they need to go someplace else in terms of their online business, but they don't know where to go, right? Maybe they feel overwhelmed, they're overworked, and they need systems in place to actually help them go to that next level and regain their freedom, right? Maybe they want to grow, but they can't seem to grow outside of the warm market, right? So they feel capped out in terms of success. Those are some of the ideal pains of clients that might even be I might even be talking about you right now. We look for that. What are some other pains our clients have that we don't solve for? You know, we don't necessarily look for people that are having troubles in their relationship. We don't necessarily look for people that have specific traumas. While, as you know, the work that we do, it can certainly cause healing in those areas. That's not the ideal pain for the ideal client. Y'all like sniffing up what I'm putting down? Starting to make sense? Okay, cool. All right, cool. And the ideal personality. Y'all, this is so important. This is so important. So, when you're doing coaching, consulting, or you're working with individual people, it is so important that your self awareness is strong enough for you to develop the leadership skills, right? Our second key skill for success. And it comes into play right here. There are people in your life right now who you love to work with, whether it's in your day job, in your business, or just like in life. People you love to collaborate with. And they all have certain personality traits that you're like, heck yeah. And then there are those people that you're like, I can't stand that person. And it's not even that they're a bad person, right? Like a lot of people might even like them. They might be super successful in life. Even when you're doing your research, when you were deciding to work with us rather than someone else, right? There was something about, my personality, the brand's personality that you were like, this is for me, but this is not for me. Now is our time to investigate that. Okay. And think about it like this. If you skip this step, you will more than likely attract people who don't have the personality that you really enjoy working with. And you'll be engaged in a working relationship with them, and they will drain you. They will make you start thinking you are the problem. And even worse, they won't get results. Right? So, this is actually one of the most important steps you can take in terms of foundationally building out your niche and your avatar. So, what am I asking? What I'm asking for you to do is list out all of the personality types that you will accept, and then all the personality types you will not accept in your workflow. Personalities that you will accept would be signs of your ideal client. This is not an exhaustive list. Like, they don't have to have all 10 things for you to work with them, but they may be things that you say, you know what, I would love to work with someone like this, right? So, let me give you some examples of great personality tips that you can include, especially if you're a coach. So, for example, if you're a coach, that means you're going to be leading somebody. If you're going to be leading somebody, the assumption inherent in that relationship is that somebody will then follow you, right? Which means you actually need a personality type that is coachable, right? You need someone who is actually willing to be led by you. Does that make sense? If you're a consultant or you're a digital creator, you are still leading people, even though you may be doing a lot of things for them. So, what you need is somebody who is willing to be led and somebody who allows you to be the expert, somebody who's humble, right? A couple other examples. I'll even give you some examples from our exact list. We like people who are resourceful. People who like to know how to get shit done, and they make a way when there's no other way. We like independent people, coachable people, emotionally intelligent, organized people, and we like to work with spiritual people. That doesn't mean you have to be all those things. You might even have heard that list and said, yeah, that's me, that's me, that's not me. The point is not to create an exhaustive list of all things they must have, but to create and identify markers of the type of personalities you just work well with. Okay? And while that's important, y'all, I gotta be honest with you. This is one of those times you really need to be more focused on the personality you will not accept. Why? Why is it so critical to know who you will not work with? It's that old adage, one rotten apple can spoil the whole bunch, right? So some of the people that we will not accept are blamers. Oh, we just can't work with somebody that blames other people for their life, right? We believe so strongly in self-empowerment and self-responsibility. We don't work with liars, narcissists, people who don't care, who are apathetic, blabberers, people that just talk ad nauseum and won't let anybody else get a word in, right? Passive aggressive. These are just some examples of the type of personalities that we just don't accept, right? And if you snuck in this training, we're going to find you out. No, I'm just kidding. But the point is, I know who we work well with. We work really, really well with the type of person that's just coachable, open, ready to go, ready to be resourceful and focused. We do not work well with people who are at effect for their life. We don't work well with really, really strong, aggressive, overly masculine, toxic masculine personalities. That's just not our brand, right? It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with those people. It simply means we won't accept them because we know we're not a good fit and we're not going to enjoy working with them and they're not going to enjoy working with us. Okay? That is your task, my friends. I do require a pretty huge commitment from this. Actually, I want you to say this out loud. I will not onboard anyone with the qualities I will not accept. I will not onboard anyone with the qualities I will not accept. I will not onboard anyone with the qualities I will not accept. You must make this commitment, but make it to me and yourself. I'm telling you, this is so critical to your longevity in this business. If you start accepting people who have the personality that you know you don't like to work with, you will regret it. In fact, we've already discussed this and what happens. Remember the law of natural selection? Remember this really critically important slide I said you should put in your onboarding? Guess what? The personality I will not accept, guess what door they tend to go through? You got it. C and D. And that's terrible. I'm telling you guys from personal experience of having broken this commitment to myself because I was eager to help someone, or I really liked them, or I believed that maybe they would actually transform. If that's ringing a bell, listen, you're not the only one. I've done it too. It hurts when you invest in someone and they turn out to be a door D person. I've told some of you this story on onboarding. Look, I had a client who was profoundly successful, a professional athlete at the absolute top of his game, had won the highest game in his field. He had won that game, right? Had the ring and everything to prove it. But I just felt like he wasn't coachable. And I felt like his personality was too dominant. He was too alpha. And especially for me, he wasn't going to be willing to be led by me. But I decided to onboard him anyway. And he went through the mindset just gung ho, so excited to do it. And when it got to the point when his patterns of behavior returned, he disappeared. And he didn't ever pay what he owed. And when I finally got a hold of him, he actually said, it was a mistake to work with you because I believe that you are the reason my patterns of behavior returned. I believe you planted that idea in my head. Had you not done that, I think I would have been way more successful. So, what he's just demonstrated is that there's a type of personality trait that two personality traits that I knew were going to come up actually bit us both in the butt. He was not coachable and he was a blamer, right? Not a personal judgment on the fella, but it means he's not a good fit for us. And so he went door D and it hurt. He didn't pay the money he owed. But regardless of all of that, the most disappointing and the most tragic part of all of this, he didn't get the help that he was looking for because we onboarded him knowing that he had red flags. Don't do that to your clients. Don't do that to the people that actually need help. Take it from me. Learn from my mistakes. Instead, simply say no and refer them to somebody who may be a better fit. Okay? All right. I think you guys got the point. Let's go on to homework number 2. All right. Homework number 2, niche, your current reality and your desired outcome. So once again, you are following along in Workflowy. Okay, so the fun begins. You guys are so familiar with this map. You've seen it so many times. You've heard it probably throughout the sales process, and you've recognized this basic concept of understanding somebody's current reality, someone's desired outcome, the gaps that are preventing them, and then the solutions, right? We're going to use this as our guide as I now show you how you identify your client's current reality. Okay? So this over here is our little avatar. Now that we know who the heck they are, because we've completed homework number 1, now we go into the training to understand what is their current reality? What is their spooky island? Where are they right now? Okay. The first assignment is to identify your ideal client's current reality. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a list. You're going to answer these questions. What do they feel? What do they think? What do they fear on a day-to-day basis? Those are pretty deep questions. And when you're answering these questions, please write what I'm about to say down. Write this down. When you're answering these questions, you're going to pull from 3 different buckets of knowledge. The first thing you're going to do is pull from your own experience. A lot of times when we're building out businesses, we're actually solving problems we've previously had, right? So pull from your own experience. What did you feel? What did you think? What did you fear on a day-to-day basis when you needed this solution, right? It's okay. You can do that to a certain degree. That's what's going to come up to you intuitively anyway. The second bucket of information you're going to pull from is asking and looking at your current clients. Look at people that you're currently worked with. Um, Again, if you're starting a business and you don't have any clients yet, then go back to your area of expertise, right? Think back to the times where you were leading people in the same or similar realm as the business that you're starting, right? You're going to find people in your circle of influence, whether they've been in your life in the past or they're in your life now, that have this problem that might be your avatar and say, what do they feel? What do they think? And what do they fear on a day to day basis? Okay. And then the third well that you're going to pull from is going to be from the market. This is where you're going to collect data. I highly recommend that if you do not have a business already that's already in a growth or the scaling phase, you absolutely need to go back to our concept of validation and go to Facebook. Find groups where your avatar is probably hanging out. Entrepreneurship groups, weight loss groups, relationship groups, whatever it may be. It's very simple to find these people on Facebook or Quora and just ask the question, hey, for the people in here who are wanting to lose weight, what do you think, feel, and fear on a day to day basis? See what data you get. Be creative. Create a Google form if you would like. I think the easiest way is honestly just to go to the place where a lot of people already are and just pose the question and see what people say. Okay. Maybe you have people in your life that aren't clients because you're not ready for them. But if you were ready, they would be a great client. Ask them. Call up your friend. Call up that person that you know that's just crushing it in this area and say, hey, before you started, what were you thinking, feeling, and fearing? This third bucket is really important because overall, you guys, the feedback that I'm about to give you is going to be true for everything you do in niche. Do not guess. Don't make this shit up. You must have data to validate this. And so when you're creating your list, pull from those three buckets and answer the questions. Okay. Let me give you some examples of what this might sound like, right? It might sound like I'll give you some examples from our own work here, right? I know I'm called to help people, but I don't feel comfortable charging people. That's a thought, right? The ideal current reality might be, I'm a great coach, my clients get results, but I'm feeling trapped by the work, right? No one understands why I do my business or what I'm doing. I can't seem to break through six figures with my business. My day job isn't my passion. Man, I want to leave this so my time is free. I feel like a fraud, right? These are all things that they think, feel, or fear on a day to day basis. You want to create this list. And by the way, write this down. You are actually going broadly and deeply. What I mean by that is you want to find what they feel, what they think, and what they fear. Broad things, but you also want to go deep. It's important that you do not synthesize the list. Your list should not be like 5 or 6 perfect sounding little sentences, right? My own list that I use with my team actually has 15, 20, and sometimes we even add more different statements to that are actually going to encapsulate the entire reality. That is your task. That is your job. Okay. So once you have current reality, the next thing is we need to hop over on our little diagram and understand what the heck do these people even want? In reality, how can you help this avatar over there if you don't know what they want? Make sense? Like pretty self explanatory. And so the next assignment for you is to start painting this island. Start getting an idea of what they're actually wanting. And to do this, you create a list. In Workflowy, you answer the question, what do they want to feel? What do they want to think? What do they want to do on a day-to-day basis? right? So let's say that you are in let's say that you are creating you're in weight loss, right? Your clients want to feel sexy again. They want to think, oh, man, I feel so good. They want to play with their kids. They want to run a marathon. They want to fit into their high school jeans, right? They want to wake up energized. They want to lose 30 pounds. This is their desired outcome. You want to create the list. And you guys, it is so important that you really tie these concepts of desired outcome to your market. To your market. So critical, right? If you are in the health market, all of the desired outcomes should somehow be linked to better health, right? In other words, your clients might want to get in shape so they can be dateable in their mind, dateable, because what does that mean? Maybe they want to attract somebody, but you're not going to do that for them. You're not going to guarantee that they can find the person of their dreams because they lose weight, right? So don't include that in the desired outcome. Leave that part out. You got it? If you are in the wealth niche, even if you're a life coach and you're doing concepts of wealth, freedom, for example, helping people level up in their career or helping people manage their time, getting rid of stress and anxiety for the purpose of leveling up. Make sure that the desired outcomes are not all over the place. You want to get married and you want to make more money and you want to get back down to your weight. That is a disaster and it will not work. You will not have a niche unless your desired outcome for your client is tied to that market, y'all. Okay? I'll give you some examples of our own. I want to impact the world with my business. I want 6 figures. I want to make more money. My work should feel aligned with my purpose, not my sole purpose, right? I want financial freedom, right? I Work helps me elevate the collective conscious, right? There's definitely an element of spiritual people that we work really well with. And that elevating of collective conscious is a way for them to commit purpose. Maybe this is even you that I'm talking to, right? I want to wake up every day with a sense of purpose. Ultimately, I can help people build high 6 figures, and even 7-figure businesses. But it's not just that. You're here working with us right now because, yes, you want those things, but you also want the freedom and the impact, right? It's still tied back to wealth. All right, y'all? So get to work. You're going to go into your workflowy, and that's what you're going to create. That is really what you're going to do in homework part 2. And again, you guys, this is all sequential. So you must complete these things in order. Even though in this training, I'm taking you through the whole thing, there will be, of course, chapter stamps where you can come back to each one. You must complete each one, right? Because it builds on the next one, okay? Homework number 3, niche the 3 Ps. So here we are. We've got our avatar, their pain and personality. We know their current reality, what they think, feel, and fear on a day-to-day basis. We know their desired outcome, what they want to think, feel, and do on a day-to-day basis. Now, what we need to do is we need to bridge that gap, right? We need to figure out what exactly is happening in the map so that we can truly get the avatar to pay attention, to listen, to know who we are, what we're about, and how we can help them. And the 3 Ps is all about doing just that. The 3 Ps are your promise, your position, and your proprietary idea, right? That is your unique product that you own, that has got your branding, that is your unique method, process, or strategy that helps to bridge the gap. Cool? Let's dive into each one. Now, what we're doing with the first P, which is the promise, is you've got your avatar over here looking the wrong way, right? They're not paying attention to you. They're paying attention to the red ocean. They're paying attention to Netflix. They're paying attention to the metaverse or whatever the heck is distracting people. But they're on that island and they actually do want help. They're just turned in the wrong direction. This is you. This represents you. And you need to get their attention. Hello, I'm here. Pay attention to me, right? The way that you do that is with your promise. Your promise is just a simple statement that says, hey, I can do this. I can help you with this. You want to hear me out? It just gets them to sort of like listen. Your promise, you guys, is not a false guarantee. It is really important that you understand when you're making a promise to someone, right? You don't want to make promises you can't keep. I think that's like a Brandy song or a Monica song, right? Don't make promises. Uh, so I'm not the singer, but you guys remember that song? You know the concept that I'm talking about? You don't want to make promises you cannot keep, right? Don't write a check that your ass can't cash. Don't do that here either. Your promise should just be a simple statement of what you actually help people do, right? I promise. This is our promise. I promise that if you show up and do the work, I will help you develop the beliefs and skills that will change your life forever. Promise, right? Another promise might be that promise to help teach somebody, certain skills required to get their certain result. Your promise is never going to be, I promise, that you will have 5 high ticket clients in the next 2 weeks, right? That might be a marketing ploy that other coaches would employ. Maybe it might even work for you, and maybe it's worked for you in the past, but that's not your ultimate promise for your business, right? Because you will go bankrupt doing that. Your promise is just what you can get behind. It is the bat signal. And it says to people, hey, I am here. I can help with these things. This is what I'm believing that you can do. This is what I'm believing I can help you do. Does that make sense? Don't labor over this, y'all. This don't have to be super fancy. It don't have to be like a slogan. You know what I mean? You're not going to print this on a book. This is for you to know so that when people ask you what you do, you can tell them. I help people build, grow, and scale businesses. And I help them develop the beliefs and skills necessary to do so. Pretty simple. And that's what you want to come up with as well. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Make a list, hash it out, ask for some assistance in the group, ask for some assistance from your coaches, and then roll with it. It's just a battle cry. Hey, I'm over here. I can help you. It's the bat signal. Once you've done that, the thing is, in order to be really effective in the 3 Ps, you also have to understand what they're listening to. Right now, your ideal clients, they are out there. Y'all, do you ever think about that? Right now, in this very moment, as you're watching this training, your first client, your 50th client, your 100th client, the client, the next one that's going to say yes to work with you literally is alive. They are born, they are walking, they are breathing. In many cases, they're out there suffering, in pain, wondering where the hell their help is. But they're suffering because of what they're doing the wrong way. They're listening to people that are telling them things the wrong way. They're focused on what marketers or someone else has said to them. And we need to be able to validate that and identify that for them to really trust us. So the second P is your position. What the market is making your audience think that's wrong. Okay? So this is where you get to actually write all this stuff down. What is out there in the world right now that when you see it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so not true. If you're a life coach, this is one that used to get me. All you have to do is say affirmations. You can affirm away your baggage, you guys, right? You can spiritual bypass and sweep it under a rug. All you need to do to really elevate yourself beyond your trauma, your limiting beliefs is listen to more podcasts, read more books, wake up every morning and just do a morning routine. Just don't even worry about your baggage. Pray it away. That's wrong. That's not how you eliminate baggage, right? If you're in the wealth market, let's say that you are actually the type of person that's in a digital creative space and you're helping people use a tool like ClickFunnels, like YouTube, some other technology to help them really leverage their business, right? And to help them acquire clients. Evergreen. Maybe the market is out there telling them right now that what they really need to do is to be a social media influencer. They need to be online every single day. They need to do a 30-day video challenge and post every single day. That's the only way they're going to get more clients. That you absolutely 100% need a third-party website and you need to pay thousands of dollars for it. Yes, as a coach, yes, as a consultant, yes, as a person with, no physical product. This is what you need. That's wrong for your client. Does that make sense? You really need to investigate what the hell's being said. And if you don't know this stuff already, literally all you have to do is start looking in groups on Facebook or Instagram and just scroll, because every third scroll you get an ad. And you'll start to see the ads that people are selling to people, what people are saying you need to do that's just completely false. Okay? Pop culture and mainstream media is really good at proliferating messaging that benefits a few that's wrong for most people. Okay. So identify that, make a list of everything that your audience is believing that is the wrong way. Again, the key here is to make sure that you don't synthesize. You're not looking for like slogans. You're literally wanting to identify the exact things that people are saying that's wrong. You're not synthesizing it down into something, right? You want to go broad. You want to go deep. You really want to identify these wrong ways that they're headed. Okay. Now that you can identify, okay, they've been looking the wrong way. Now they're going to be paying attention. They've heard your cry. They understand. Oh, you can't see it. Let me move it down here. Right. So they've heard your announcement. They're like, yeah, I am hearing that. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't work. Yeah, if you're in health and fitness, yeah, that's really true. Like, I am hearing that I have to, intermittent fast, or I have to be a vegan, or I have to do keto. Like, I am hearing all of these things, and that doesn't seem right for me, whatever it may be. The next thing is, like, once you've warned them, hey, don't go this way because it's dangerous, there's a tsunami on the way, you want to show them the right way. You want to be able to identify and articulate what that is. So the next part of your assignment is actually, in your position, what you want your audience to think that's the right way. What's the right way to think? So, hey, you know what? You don't need to be a social media influencer. What you actually need is people or technology to be leveraged to help you with organic traffic. What you actually need is a YouTube channel. What you actually need is a funnel. What you actually need is systems and teams, right? What you actually need is the momentum map, right? That's what we're ultimately leading up to. If you're in health and fitness, what you actually need is to find the diet and exercise and lifestyle that works for you, right? If you're in health, if you're in relationships, instead of telling people you have to lose weight, you have to move, you have to change locations, what you actually want to tell them is like, you are fine as you are, right? The issue is you just have to clear up some baggage. You have to let go, accept responsibility. You are the one you've been waiting for. These are just examples that I'm brainstorming, guys, okay? Write it down. A way that can be super helpful for you to do this exercise, to make sure that you're really on track, is to go in your notebook and do, the process I love to do. Draw a line down the middle of the page, write everything that's being said that's wrong, everything that's being said that's right, and just use your wrong as a guide for the way that you want them to think. The way you want your audience to think, you guys, is your philosophy. So for us, you don't have to be a social media influencer to have a 6-figure business from scratch or to even scale. You don't actually have to go to paid advertising in order for you to build a 6 and even 7-figure business. That's not true, right? You don't have to do pushy, aggressive sales. You don't have to manipulate people in order for them to work with you. In fact, what we do believe is that your branding must match your ideal client, right? That you can post once and you could not post again for 6 months and your business can still grow. That it's about identifying who your ideal client is first. That is what's going to lead you to attract the right person. Okay. Organic traffic is a 7-figure roadmap. It's just about leveraging people or technology to get you there, right? That's an example of our specific languaging. Okay. Those are our philosophies. It's what we believe. And once you do that, and once you've really outlined that in workflowy, what you're going to find is your avatar has moved from here. Now they're ready. They understand shit. This person's promise makes sense to me. They're right. I can't go this way. There's a massive tsunami waiting for me if I try to swim. And I think I'm ready to get on board. I actually want to see what this is all about. This is how you position your avatar and your niche. And this is ultimately the foundation of how you build your business. It's really exciting stuff, y'all. This is probably familiar to you. You probably went through some of this either directly on the sales calls or indirectly, depending on how you came to us in the pre-qualifying stage, in DMs, right? On one of the sales calls that you had, we probably went through something like this for you, and now you understand why it's so critical. This is the exact process that you're going to take your clients through as well. Okay. And so while this is amazing and we're almost there, there's one final step that we need to actually do. And listen, I'm going to be honest with y'all. This is the least important thing. The third P is the name of your proprietary idea. For those of you who are like super creative and love aesthetics and beauty and love to be specific, this could either be super fun or just like super painful for you. So what I want you to do is just not even think about it. If you come up with a name for the PI, great. Let me go back and show you where that would be. If something just hits you and you're like, yes, this is exactly it. This is the name of my proprietary process. Cool. Rock with it. All right. The name of your PI is what the name of the bridge is. In our case, it's the momentum map. It's just the name of what your product is, your process, right? Because we're not selling you, we're selling your process. We're selling your solution, right? Not a big deal. If you have one, cool. If you don't, don't. The one thing that I will say is this should be either really fitting with your branding. In our case, momentum is a huge part of our brand, or it should be super obvious. If you don't have a name for this, just call it the roadmap for now and move on. It will eventually come to you, but you do not want to get stuck in the naming process and you don't want to get all fancy and creative. I'll give you an example of what not to do. So I had a client who, super creative individual, right? Because I love to work with artists and super creative individual. And one of the first pitches that he had for the name of his proprietary process was, uh, oh my gosh, it was something to the effect of um, like the misfit, like the misfit map, the misfits map. And I was like, what does that even mean? And for him, he loved it because he loves that sort of poem, that little prose from Apple about the misfits, right? And how, you're the creative ones that no one understands, come be with us. The problem with that name was that it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense because most people that are paying high ticket are not going to want to be identified as losers or misfits. That's something that you could use in your messaging, but you don't want to name your whole product. Hey, this is a product for losers. Not in high ticket, you don't. Does this make sense, guys? So just keep it simple, stupid. Don't overdo it. Come up with something super obvious or nothing at all. All right? Tough Love Mama says stop here. You must complete this work. What has just been presented, 1 through 3, has to be done. If you do not do 1 through 3, if you do not complete that and revise it and review it and get feedback, right? You will not be able to do the next step. If you try to do the next step without having this done and actually like polishing it, you guys, telling you, it will totally flop. You'll be super frustrated. You'll be pissed off at me and everyone else on our team. So just don't do it. What I actually need you to do is complete homework 1 through 3 of this training, and bring any questions, bring what you have to the attention of the group, to me, or to your coach, whoever you're working with at the time that you're watching this training. You want to get opinions, you want to get feedback. It is critical. If you just do it on your own and you don't get feedback from anybody, there is about I'll say, to be fair, there's probably a 75% chance that what you have created is missing something. There's a blind spot that you haven't quite gotten. So my recommendation is that you complete this work, you deliver it into whatever channels are available to you at the time that you're watching this. It could be to me, it could be to your coach, it could be to the group, and it could be on like one of our Q&As. However it is, I'm going to say it one more time. Do not proceed until you have gotten feedback from somebody involved in our company that it is good and you are ready to go. Cool? All right. Once you've gotten that, you're on to the fourth and final homework for niche, which is creating your sequential steps. This is where it gets fun. So here's what you've got. You've got your current reality. You've got your avatar. You've got your desired outcome. You've got the bridge. You've got your 3 Ps. The last step for you is to actually decide what steps they must go through in order for you to solve the problem. So write this down. The solution to every problem is sequential. The solution to every problem is sequential. Whether we realize it or not, every problem is solved in a sequential order. Your job as an entrepreneur is to decide what are those sequential steps. There could be 3, there could be 5, there could be 7. I don't know. This is not my business and my area of expertise. It's yours. So your job is to sit down and decide what is the first thing that they must do to be successful, to solve this problem. And once they do that, what is the next thing? Once they do that, what is next? What is next? What is next? You must sequence it out for them. Otherwise, you're not really solving their problems. You're shooting in the dark and you're guessing, and nobody wants to pay for that. And also, even if they did, you would not only not get proof of concept, you'd be pretty defeated. Okay? What you want to do when you are bridging the gap and making these sequential steps is you actually want to use your Workflowy or Google Doc or someplace to really craft it out and give the names of each step. Make it simple. Don't overcomplicate it, right? So for example, with us, you go mindset, best business practices, systems. It's pretty simple, right? It's 3 to 4 steps. It may have been explained to you in a slightly different way, but fundamentally, that's what it is. Look at your workflow. You look at the membership portal. It's pretty simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Your job is to come up with those steps, and then your job is to like deliver it to us in a way that allows us to understand it as if, playing the game, are you smarter than a 5th grader? If a 5th grader could understand how your sequential steps would solve this person's problem, you nailed it. Okay? So after you've completed the first ones, your next job is to actually outline your sequential steps. Do it in Workflowy. Do it someplace digitally because you will need this to recreate in other aspects of what you're doing. Step 1, 2, 3, and 4 in sequential order. They must do this, then this, then this, then this. They must build on each other. Got it, guys? Once you've got the higher level steps, your ongoing work. By ongoing, I mean it's not required for you to move on, but your ongoing work is to actually flesh that out. Build out your business. If you've already got this, great, you can move on. If you are starting from scratch, it is totally essential that you know the steps that you're going to take people to, the micro steps. So for us, for example, mindset is number one, but within mindset, the micro step is you do Freedom Day. And in Freedom Day, there are micro steps, right? You do your interview, then you do the actual Freedom Day, then you have a mindset call, right? I mean, at the time of this recording, this is how it flows, and it may be slightly different. That's the point, okay? The sequential steps will evolve, but your job today, right now, is to do the high level sequential steps and be able to explain it to somebody such that a fifth grader could understand. Cool? All right. Delivering your homework. Here's what we need. You are going to Voxer and or complete your workflowy in these sequential steps. The ideal client's pains, make a list. The ideal client's personality you will accept. The ideal client's personality you will not accept. That is the first chunk of homework you should do. If you are Voxering this over to a coach, or if you're not doing that, and if you're actually doing this work on your own, and then you're going to get feedback from the group, what you're going to want to do is actually chunk all of this homework together in a block and deliver it that way. Here are the pains, here's the personality, right? Get feedback. Second, you're going to outline the ideal client's current reality and the ideal client's desired outcome. This is a second chunk of the homework. You can only really do this after you've done the first one. And then the third chunk of homework is the 3 Ps: your promise, your position, the wrong way to think, your position, the right way to think, and your proprietary name, the least important part. Again, don't labor over that. This is the homework that you want to deliver primarily. And I've included our little statue of David over here because this work is exactly like what Michelangelo said. Michelangelo said, I don't create masterpieces. I just chip away at the marble to reveal what's already there. That is how this niche foundation work, exactly how it's revealed. You have to put in the work to chip away the marble, but just because you make one chip doesn't mean you're going to have a masterpiece. You're going to need to continue to chip away and away and away until the masterpiece is revealed. If you do this the right way, your masterpiece will be revealed. This work of art, this business, it will reveal itself, right? Every great sculptor, great sculptors that are alive today, they spend sometimes 2 years to get to a final piece. But it starts with that first chip, okay? This is what I want you to keep in mind as you're doing this work. It is an ongoing process. It needs to be sanded, it needs to be chipped away, and it needs to be polished. Remember your 3 buckets. What are your 3 buckets, y'all? Your personal experience, right? Your immediate surroundings, what's available to you with existing clients or people around you, and then what the market says. You need to go in all 3 buckets and validate, validate, validate. Then get feedback from us before you proceed. Once you do, then you'll do homework number 4, and you're going to outline your sequential steps and simplify your explanation, right? Play, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Can you simply explain your sequential steps in a way that a 5th grader could understand, right? Think about any interactions that we may have had, right? When I talk to people about this, it's pretty simple, right? It's almost always the same, even though the linguistically there may be some variations. The first thing we do is get rid of your belief system that's holding you back, right? And for some people, they might really love this section, so I might elaborate. But the next thing I say is, after your mindset is clear and it's prepared, we begin the business foundations that are ultimately going to take your business concept and launch it, or they're going to polish your existing business and make it a little bit better. And I may focus on parts of it that resonate with the client. And then finally, you're going to want to eventually grow the business beyond you. And so you systemize, right? Maybe you came to me at that level and I said to you, you still need to understand mindset and foundation. And in systems, what we're going to do is we're going to hire your team. We're going to leverage technology and people so that you can actually get your freedom back. It's very simple. And that's what I want you to practice. Practice out loud, practice in the group, practice with other people, practice with, somebody around you who is within your environment that is supportive. That's one of your Jim Rohns, right? One of your 5 people that you're close to that's going to influence you in a positive way. No Grovers, okay? All right, y'all. After you have polished this and we have a statue of David that we believe is really strong, if you're starting, we've polished it and it's even tighter than it was before if we're growing or scaling. Once that is approved, you will be on to the next step, which is offer. I have to warn you, this training is not locked. It is unpassword protected. That does not mean you should go do that training right now. It won't make sense to you. I would not jump into that. You know my philosophy. It's all about doing things in sequential order. So please do the right thing. Finish this homework before you dive into offer. Once you feel good, once you've gotten confidence and you've gotten some validation from the team, go ahead and move on to your offer. And I'll see you on the next training.